Hello everypony and welcome to the first installment of Fiction Corner, where I review books created on the website FIMfiction and delve into the beats and potatoes of what makes each book great or not. For my first review, I will be going over the story Princess Celestia, the Changeling Queen, written by Vren55. Spoiler alert, Celestia is a changeling in this book, or rather, the Celestia we all know and love is a changeling. I'll get to that point later on in the review. So, to kick things off, I'll give you the general info for this book, and then we'll dive into the heavier stuff as we get further in. To begin, this book is just shy of 170,000 words, with a total of 30 chapters, not including the prologue. This means that it's not really a week-long reading project for the majority of ponies, but will certainly be a bit more to chew for those of us that like to read a few thousand words and be done with it. Even so, it is an amazing story that delves into some very deep topics and will keep the reader guessing as to what will happen next. It is rated E for every pony, so you don't have to worry too much when it comes to blood, gore, and the bedroom activities, but that does not mean that you won't be dealing with some rather heavy subjects and imagery. Ye have been warned. Now, to get into the actual body of the review, we'll go over the major points of the plot, not including the editing, so as to avoid the oh-so-dreaded spoiler alert. I think I speak for every pony when I say that I want to avoid spoiling the book as much as you do, so we'll avoid that part of the story altogether just to save you and me from having a problem later because I ruined the ending for all of you. We start out the story with a monologue from our lovely Princess Celestia, wherein she shares her pride at the accomplishments of her little ponies, all while lamenting the fact that it is nothing but a lie, a charade. Step into the story proper, and we are immediately brought to the moment where Shining Armor and Princess Cadence ask for Celestia's blessing in their marriage, before being thrust into a foreboding and looming threat, as Celestia senses something dangerous on the horizon. We still don't know everything about the threat, at least from the story point of view, but as you hopefully are aware of by now, the wedding is going to get some uninvited guests that will throw a major wrench in the plans of the characters. Fast forward to the wedding, and we get right to the point of the matter, without any true preamble or fanfare. Chrysalis is being blasted out of the city with the rest of her kind, but that isn't the only thing Shining Armor and Cadence's spell managed to do. For while Chrysalis and her hive have been expunged from the capital, there is still one changeling left within the halls of Canowat Castle, and it's wearing the gold regalia of Princess Celestia. Oh joy! A brief exchange ensues between the ponies and this new changeling, resulting in Celestia passing out and leaving the rest of the cast with a rather daunting problem on their hooves. As far as they can tell, Celestia has been replaced by a changeling queen, and with the threat of Chrysalis fresh in their minds, they do the only thing they can think of at the time. They throw the imposter in the Canterlot dungeons and then take a breather to gather their wits and to calm the public. They don't know what is in store for them when they confront this unknown queen, but it will be far more than any pony would dare to imagine. And with that, I believe we've covered enough of the plot to get most ponies interested. I'll leave the rest up to you to discover if you really wish to find out how the story ends, although there will be other bits and pieces that will be revealed as we go into the more intrinsic topics that this book covers. On that note, of all the subject matter that I could talk about within this book, and there is a lot, I have to say that the three biggest ones have to do with the importance of identity, trust, and family. Although the struggles the characters go through to realize the true weight of these virtues is something that cannot be so easily described. However, I shall do my best to go over the plot and trials that the characters must overcome in order to give every pony a clear idea as to why these virtues are such key components in this book. To start off with, identity is a challenge faced by many of the characters throughout the story, but is most notably centered around Celestia, or rather Princess Alternia, if one were to go by her true name. Through a series of events that shall remain hidden, spoiler alert and all that, Alternia ended up taking the real Princess Celestia's place all the way back 1,000 years ago at the point of Nightmare Moon's banishment, wherein the young changeling queen took up the mantle as the ruler of Equestria, while her alicorn counterpart recovered from the trials of said battle. It was upon that night that Alternia put on a mask, and for the next 1,000 years that mask became her identity, to the point that she nearly forgot who she really was under the regalia and pony facade. This, along with some other magical leftovers that I won't go into in this review, creates a divide between the Celestia that everyone knew and loved and the Changeling Queen, Alternia, lost, alone, and desperately clinging to the only creatures that she can still call family. Speaking of family, there is enough drama centered around that aspect of the plot that some Boney could write a soap opera about the whole thing, if you wanted to remove all the extra stuff that makes this book so great on top of all the interpersonal angst. Not only is Alternia dealing with the fallout of her reveal to the ponies she cares about most, but now that the changelings have been brought into the light, history and grudges that have been simmering for over 1,000 years have finally been dragged out of the shadows, and there is no true way to tell how things are going to fall. We find out fairly early in the plot that Alternia is really the second eldest of 4 siblings, the first of which being none other than Chrysalis herself. Throw in her younger sisters Symaculus and Belladonna, as well as Chrysalis' 2 daughters, and you've got a family that's so full of hate that it's already come to blows, and I mean of the lethal variety. Throughout the book, family bonds are forged, shattered, reformed, and stretched beyond their breaking points, all while Alternia hides her true self from her relatives in a desperate gamble to restore the peace between the ponies and the changelings. And lastly, we come to trust, one of the fundamentals of pony society, even though it isn't one of the elements of harmony. This particular virtue is aimed more at the cast in its totality rather than specific characters, and this is because of the secrets that are shared and revealed as the story progresses. Trust is earned, and trust can be broken, and that happens more times than I can count within the pages of this book, mostly brought about by the actions of a certain changeling princess as she tries to keep her 2 families from ripping each other apart. Throw in a pony terrorist group running around behind the scenes, and you've got one heck of a setup for some nasty revelations and confrontations. Yes, you heard me right. There's a pony terrorist group running around that keeps throwing wrenches in Alternia's plans for peace, along with making it rather difficult for her to keep her secret from prying eyes when she has to play both fronts of a negotiation without giving away too much of her own personal history. Yet even after throwing the reader under the bus several times, one still comes out of the book feeling refreshed and content, because there is a happy ending in the middle of all this chaos, I can assure you of that. But it will not be easily won, nor will it be a painless victory. Ponies and changelings alike will make sacrifices, lose things and beings close to their hearts, and yet somehow manage to hold themselves together in these trying times. Thus, if you are looking for an emotional roller coaster filled with intrigue and mystery, then take a look inside Princess Celestia, the Changeling Queen, and see what Friend 55 has in store for you. And with that all wrapped up, I bid you all adieu, and hope to see you all again in the next installment of Fiction Corner. Let me know in the comments section what you all thought of my first book review, and if there are any particular fan works that you'd like to see me cover. Keep in mind, any and all suggestions will be considered only if I have actually read the book, so if I find a book that I haven't seen before, well, let's just say it might be a while before I get to that particular story, because I'll have to go and read the book first. Other than that, I am pleased to say that this first review has come to a final end. This is Shadowquill, Messenger of the Moon, signing off.
Feel like I am flying, soaring high. Nobody can bring me down.